got Siddharth Khemka, shipping and logistics analyst of Centrum Broking, who now joins in on the show to tell us what to make of this. Siddharth, thanks very much for joining in. If you could just tell us that given that it's below the 1,000 mark for the first time since Jan 2009, it's essentially on a lot of those concerns with regarding to the declining iron ore cargo demand from China. Where do you see the Baltic Dry Index now heading?
Thanks a lot. We've seen the Baltic Index falling to below 1,000 levels. We have seen the index remaining very volatile in the past, and it continues to remain so based on the momentarily shift in demand from China. As of now, we see the index hitting its bottom, but as we see it, there is hardly any scope for it to improve in the near future, mainly because of the Chinese demand that has been tapered off on back of lower production in their steel, and as well as a lot of other weather-related port problems in Australia and Brazil, which together forms a bulk of exporting nations for the bulk commodities.
So that is the Baltic Dry Index a true indicator of demand, or this is an instrument which shipping companies or shipping firms they use for hedging purposes, and since it's a liquid market, this index has cracked?
The Baltic Index is an index for the entire shipping sector. It is not particularly index for the demand. It also captures the supply side of the shipping industry. And as you all know that for last 2 years, the shipping industry has been impacted because of the huge oversupply. And that has been the major impact which has resulted in the Baltic Index, which is an indicator of the freight rates that the shipping companies earn. And as we see that since the index is depressed, the freight rates that the shipping companies earn have been depressed for last 1.5 years, 2 years, which has resulted in lower profitability for most of the shipping companies.
So that we spoke about that problem regarding the declining iron ore cargo demand from China. Apart from that, there's also overcapacity as well as the global trade slowdown overall, which has been plaguing this industry as a whole. Which would you say out of these three is the bigger concern, and any that you'd like to add to that list?
The biggest concern continues to be the demand, and as we had seen in the last decade, China forms the bulk of demand in the bulk side, and any change or any increase or decrease in the Chinese demand leads to a huge change in the overall shipping freight rates. So the demand side, especially from China, remains the key concern for the shipping industry. Apart from that, in the last 1.5 to 2 years, we have also seen weather-related problems which has affected the shipping sector. The tsunami in Japan, floods in Australia, these have affected actually the supply of commodities and led to lower demand in the short term, and has led to the freight rates declining. While the supply has been continuously being added, the demand continues to remain slow.
So that on which particular market or exchange the Baltic Dry Index is listed? The reason why I ask you this question is because what I'm trying to understand from you is that is cross-currency hedging also playing a role in the current volatility?
The Baltic Index per se is not used for hedging, as you wanted to know. This is basically used by the shipping companies to know the movement in freight rates, the global movement in freight rates. And as you want to know, hedging, most of these, if you go by the Indian companies, most of the Indian companies, the entire revenue as well as the costs are in dollars. So as well as the debts that they have taken on their books for the vessels are again in dollars. So for them, a change in currency is just a translation loss or gain that they report on the quarterly numbers.